Hi everyone and welcome to Club 3, Episode 2 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. It's our first couple of days in charge of Derby County. We haven't played a match yet. It's only literally been 2 days since I took over the job, so not a lot has changed. You can see finances I haven't really been able to dive into yet and change much of. And talking about finances, one of the things that people noticed in the first video of this particular club was when we were looking at the coaching staff, we saw that Wayne Rooney was in our coaching staff and he's on 50 grand a week, which is quite a hefty sum for a coach. And a lot of you were saying get rid of him. The problem with getting rid of him is that he costs an awful lot in compensation to get out. So it's going to cost us pretty much all of his wage for the next 7 months just to get him out of the club at this point. And then I've got to employ somebody else on top of that to do the job. So at this moment, I know it's a bit counterintuitive, but he's only got a few more months to run till the summer where his contract ends. And I'm going to let him see that out because whichever way you turn, it's going to cost me the same sort of amount of money. I might as well keep him in the club and get him to do some coaching for our youngsters before he actually leaves in the summer. But it is a hefty sum to be paying a coach, and we won't be doing it long term. But I just thought I'd point that one out. If you do something differently with that, that's fair enough. But for now, that's what I've chosen to do with it. In terms of everything else, nothing else has been changed particularly, other than I've gone into the tactical setup of the game and tried to figure out what I want to do with this side in the early games whilst we try and regain some confidence and a bit of momentum behind us, hopefully. So for the first game against MK Dons, which is away from home, I wanted a bit more of a defensive security about our first half performance, particularly. In the second half, hopefully we can release some of that a little bit. So this is what I've decided to go with just for the first half specifically. So whilst Butterworth is up top on his own, I'm hoping that we'll get enough support on the wide areas for him. And in some of these central midfield guys moving into this attacking midfield area once we've got possession of the ball. But when we haven't got possession, I want this to be the formation and the shape just to see if I can make it difficult for MK Dons to break us down. So we're using the fluid counter-attacking system on cautious mentality. In terms of some of the other instructions, I'll go through them. You can check them out as we go. But there's not an awful lot here that's sort of anything particularly specific. Regrouping rather than pressing once we've lost the ball is a key one, just to get that shape about us to break down and make it harder. But then the counter attack, once we do have the ball and out of possession, we're going to drop quite deep defensively and see if we can cause them a problem to break down. So that's the tactical setup just for this game, and it will change over the coming weeks. I will realign some of it. But you can see in essence what it is still their 4-2-3-1 that they've been playing, but it's just a slightly different structured version of it. And the two attacking wide men are dropped down into the central midfield line just because both of them prefer to play that position. So I thought I'd start there, but if not, we can always move them up to the attacking midfield line. So yeah, that's all that I've done really so far. You can see that they're still working on the familiarity of the formation, etc. So they're not quite there yet. But today is a good opportunity for us to come in and see whether we can get a good performance out of them. And really what I want more than anything else is just to become much harder to beat than they have been so far this season. And if we can achieve that in the early stages of our time here, then I'll be reasonably happy with that, I think, whilst we're bedding ourselves in. So today's team for the game against MK Dons away from home is Rakovic in goal, with Coyle at right back, Kelly at left back, Camp and Cardoso in central defence, McNair, Benenheim and Crowley in central midfield, McCowan on the right, Daniels on the left and Butterworth up top, with a bench of Boone, Johnson, Knight, Stretton, Murphy, Miller and Walker. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So I don't have an assistant manager currently. I think he left with the previous manager, so I'm currently in the process of employing somebody new. But whilst that's happening, I'm doing all of the bits and pieces that some of which I would get an assistant to do. But in terms of the team talk, which I always try and take the majority of, what I've done is I've asked them to put in an improved performance and put an end to the bad run. I've done it quite assertively, made them aware that what I expect from them in the early stages. And what I'm really interested, as much as I can today, is just to get a sense of whether we can make it hard for MK Dons to break us down in this first half specifically. See if we can get some steel about us and make it harder for teams to get points off of us, and then hopefully move from that solid foundation. Maybe into a more attacking style of football later on, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe this will work for us, maybe it won't. But a good opportunity for us down the left-hand side as a first highlight of the game to keep our short passing possession going nicely in midfield, but then the ball into Butterworth was a bit nothingy, and MK Dons have managed to get hold of the ball and have countered-attacked quite swiftly, really. I moved up the pitch quite speedily, and they still maintain possession, even though we've had a couple of attempts at putting a foot in, and then a very wild shot by them, and it didn't really trouble Rakovic at all, did it, in goal. And an opportunity for Crowley to put the ball in from the free kick, but again we don't. We settle down to try and work the ball, and it wasn't particularly well thought out, was it, really, on that occasion? It's put us back further than maybe we should have been. We should have been more adventurous in our free kick, I would have thought. But anyway, we still maintain possession, and Crowley's got it again in that central midfield area, down the right-hand side to McCowan this time. Cross comes in, and on the far post is Daniels, and Daniels gets an early goal for us in the first game. 27 minutes gone. Really good cross by McCowan on that right-hand side, right to the far post, and Daniels cutting in off of that wide left position. Sits slightly narrow anyway. And what a lovely ball that is. It avoided all the defenders, and at the back post, left-footed, Daniels puts it into that near post area, and the goalkeeper couldn't quite get down to it, and we take an encouraging 1-0 lead. I'm not going to be releasing any of this sort of defensive caution at the moment. I'm going to keep it as it is. I think if we can get through to half-time with a 1-0 lead, that's really positive. And we do. You can see that the stats of the game have been a little bit against us in terms of they've had more of the opportunities than we have, but we've had good possession, and that's what you want to base. I want to base this side around a little bit, keeping possession of the ball, keeping shape, and then maintaining discipline when we lose it to make it hard. And so far, it's done okay. So calmly, we're going to say I'm pleased with how things are going. Keep it up. Nothing too sort of positive and outlandish there, really. And you can see that the conditioning of the players is good, so we can take them straight back into the second half and see whether they can keep up this momentum and keep the shape and keep the formation working for us. That means that it's hard for MK Dons, and that's all I'm after. You can see they're still having more of the opportunities than we are, which I kind of expect with the formation that we're using. But so far, they haven't really had too much of a highlight to talk about. And we were at the 70-minute mark, so I just want to guard against people getting too tired. So we're going to take one or two players off. Benningham will come off, and we'll put Stretton on in his place. We're going to take Butterworth off as the lone striker and put Walker up there to run the last sort of 15 minutes of the 20 minutes of the game for us. So that's a bit of a thankless task at times, isn't it? And then we've got one more opportunity to change something, and what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to take off Coyle at right back and put Johnson there, and again see if we can get some fresh energy down that right hand side from a fullback that's got a bit more energy about him. The corner kick comes in from MK Dons, and we get it partially cleared. McNair has another chance to get it properly cleared, and he doesn't. He finds Walker very nicely, who runs with the ball, holds up the play nicely, finds Daniels on the left wing. Can he get it back into Walker? He can. Oh, it was very, very unlucky, wasn't it? Really good cross into that near post by Daniels. Walker was there, but a good defensive block, and it goes out for a corner kick. Corner kick comes in from Crowley into that penalty spot area, and it comes back out to Crowley for another chance, but a challenge comes in, and it was a foul from MK Dons, and it gave us an opportunity to have a free kick down that left hand side that comes to nothing. But we've got a few more minutes to play, and things are still, oh no, curse of the commentator again. Just as I'm thinking it was going okay, you saw that MK Dons there came back at us with a set piece down the right hand central right spot, and they find Witherspoon on that far post, and he pokes it home left-footed, and it goes to 1-0. But immediately, can we come back from a corner kick of our own? It goes to the far post. McNair picks up the loose ball and settles the play back down for us. Beats a man down the right-hand side. Gets a good, hefty cross in. Finds Daniels, and a very wayward shot by Daniels. You expect much better from him cutting in off that left-hand side. And he just boots it out wide of the goal, and it doesn't unsettle the goalkeeper at all. Again, we have a chance in central midfield to build another attack, and it's gone again wide left to Daniels. Can he really challenge his marker, and he does. But again, what sort of a strike is that? Just at those key moments where you get a really good opportunity, he's been letting us down with the finish. But his corner comes in, and that doesn't let us down at all. Camp with a header of the ball right on the top of that 6-yard box. And a perfectly good weighted corner kick by Daniels made up for his errors on the shots that he's been doing himself, and becomes creative this time rather than scorer. And Camp with a brilliantly cushioned header into that corner of the goal. And just in the dying seconds, we take a 2-1 lead and win the first game that we play with Derby County. And that's got to help with some confidence and getting some momentum back into our play. So we're going to tell the boys that they've done well and the efforts are excellent. So passionately do that. People have written us off today and you've proved them all wrong. Well done. It was a great result. And it was. Right in the dying seconds. That's what we want. We want them to fight for us and show that they want to actually succeed. It hasn't changed our league position. We've still maintained our 23rd place spot, but you can see that we're really in contention right the way up for several places. A couple of wins here and there will really boost our chances of getting out of this relegation zone very quickly and moving into midfield. But we can't be too complacent about that. It was a good first win, but we've got an awful lot of work to do. So we edge out our opponents. That's good. Daniels inspires, and he did a little bit, but some of his wayward shooting was fairly dreadful. So in terms of the schedule, what have we got coming up? We've got a couple of really tricky games coming up. The likes of Reading and Nottingham Forest, Middlesbrough. There's some good teams coming up. And what we're going to do is we are actually going to come in and we're going to play the Forest game. It's a bit of a rival of Derby County is Nottingham Forest. So we're going to come and play that game next. Another away game, so we'll probably use the same tactic. But I might experiment a little bit between now and then with the 3 or 4 games in between, just to see what other things might or might not work for us. But yeah, hope you'll come back for the Nottingham Forest game in the next episode. And I hope you'll continue to enjoy the challenge that Derby County provides for us, because it is going to be a hefty one. There's some stuff that we need to improve in here, but we've had a really good start, and so I'm really encouraged by that. So thanks very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do. It helps you keep up to date with all the videos that I release. If you like this particular episode, please click a like on it for me. That would be really helpful to me. It helps me get seen by loads of other people in the YouTube algorithms if you click that like button. So please do that. But until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.